All right, welcome to Bet the Edge. I'm Jay Croucher. If the lighting is especially bright in here today, it's because of the afterglow of the coronation. Nikola Jokic sweeps the Los Angeles Lakers, goes to the finals. We're going to talk that first, and we're going to get into some baseball. So let's bring in Vaughn Dalzell and Drew Dinsick. Vaughn, the Denver Nuggets are minus 270 to win the NBA title. It's unbelievable saying it out loud. I still remember this franchise when it was defined by Anthony Carter throwing inbounds passes to Trevor Ariza in the 2009 conference finals, but come a long way. And now massive favorites. What did you make of the game last night, Vaughn? And do you think that the Nuggets are justified, minus 270 favorites to win it all?
Shout out to Anthony Carter. Do not remember who that is. Certainly know who Trevor Ariza is, though. You could tell our age gap there a little bit. But no, I was impressed with the Nuggets this whole series. The Lakers were competitive too, though. There's probably a game or two the Lakers should have won, including last night's game 4 being up at halftime. But the Nuggets are a team that consistently, when you're playing at their pace or playing a quicker style of basketball, they could outshoot you. They could work in the post. And Jokic, again, triple-double. And I think he has, 6 now in the postseason, which is an NBA record. So, there may be no stopping this team. They may have proved what we doubted them at in some areas, but I still think the Miami Heat are really going to give them a run for their money. And I think the lack of maybe excitement we've seen in the conference finals with 2 potential sweeps, I think we make up for that in the NBA finals, and we see a full 6 or 7 competitive series between these two teams. But Jokic, obviously a shorter price to win MVP over the Nuggets to win the finals. I think that's the way you approach it value-wise. I don't know if you gentlemen agree or disagree, but I would probably make Jokic, close to 95% likely to win MVP if the Nuggets win.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, considering how incredible Jamal Murray was in the Western Conference Finals, and that it was basically it was unanimously Jokic was the most important player. I can 100% agree with that. The interesting thing to me about this finals price and Nuggets title price and in every way is that it's going to be pretty dynamic by what happens in this Eastern Conference Finals. Like, that price is conditional on the Heat basically getting it done now, I think. If the Heat sweep, then the market's going to reasonably upgrade that team, and then maybe minus 270, minus 250, maybe that's fair. My fair price for a Nuggets Heat finals, if the Heat sweep, would be about minus 350 for the Nuggets. Now, if this series gets extended and the Heat come through in 5, 6, or even 7, then I think that price starts to drift, and because the rest gap is going to be enormous. Same thing goes with if the Celtics come through here in 7. They're going to the rest difference is going to be so monumental that Nuggets stealing 1, maybe even 2 in Boston would be a realistic expectation. So I think you have to have the Nuggets as a meaningful title favorite, regardless of what happens in the Eastern Conference. But I think that number can only go. I mean, it can go one of either way, depending on how the Eastern Conference Finals goes. And the longer the Eastern Conference Finals goes, the Nuggets should drift, but if the Celtics come through, then you're going to see a pretty violent response in that price. So it's going to be really interesting to watch this as we kind of get through the rest of this Eastern Conference Finals. We covered it in length yesterday. I don't think I don't think it's as certain that the Heat are coming through. But still, it's this price to me is, I guess what I would say is, if you want to bet some Nuggets to win the title, you might as well parlay it with the money line for the Heat tonight, because I think otherwise you probably are going to be able to get a better price at some point in in between now and when we get the final matchup.
Yeah,
Let me ask you this, Jay. Sorry, Jay, but I want to ask you this opinion, because we were bantering a little bit the last time we were on here about the depth of the Lakers and the Nuggets, and I was impressed with the amount that Christian Brown was on the court. Of course, Bruce Brown played up, Aaron Gordon, these type of guys. Jeff Green even made some plays here or there. But we've seen the Heat's bench, and their undrafted guys in particular, absolutely go insane, along with Jimmy Butler. How do you think that plays into that series? Do you think that lengthens it out because the Heat's bench probably has the advantage against the Nuggets?
Yeah, I've been pretty shocked in particular by how playable and good Jeff Green has been in these playoffs. The fact that they closed game 3 with Jeff Green over Aaron Gordon. Like, I would have made that 50 to 1 that was ever going to happen in a playoff game that they go with Jeff Green. So I don't know. I think the Nuggets, like their depth, it's not great once you get past the 7th guy who's Green now, and Bruce Brown's the 6th guy who's excellent, and Christian Brown has kind of become a little bit unplayable if he's not taking and making threes. But I just don't think it matters because they've got their 7 guys. And to your point about rest, Drew, I think that's mitigated a bit by the fact that every game in the finals, there's a 2-day break between all of them except for one. So they're going to get extended rest. So they're probably just going to play, 7-man rotations if they need. I think that rest schedule probably helps Miami, though, just because of like Jimmy Butler and Kyle Lowry's knees and the fact that Butler is going to be able to be full go if that is the matchup. I agree with you, Vaughn, that I think that the best way to bet the Nuggets is just to bet on Jokic Finals MVP, which is minus 200. I agree. I think he's about 95, 97% of their MVP equity. And I think, I'm kind of sick of doubting the Heat at this point. And as much as you want to like project matchups and everything, like that stuff gets eradicated pretty quickly after Eric Spoelstra just starts doing weird stuff. And, Boston, Miami, you would think that, Duncan Robinson would be unplayable because Brown and Tatum are just going to hunt him relentlessly on switches. And meanwhile, Duncan Robinson has been a massive part of this series and is outplaying Malcolm Brogdon. So a lot of this stuff, it changes so quickly. And with the Heat, I'm kind of loath to back the Nuggets at minus 270 just because they haven't played a team like the Heat yet. This series is going to look a lot different to the past 3 for the Nuggets. Heat have a lot more shooting. I think that defensively that they're a lot different than the Lakers as well. But I think the big problem is that I don't think Bam Adebayo can guard Nikola Jokic in isolation. He's just too small. Bam is like 6'8". And watching back these Heat Nuggets games, like Jokic just shoots over him, and that means Bam has to leap to contest. And if he's leaping to contest, then it starts all the pivots and all the fakes, and Jokic was just cooking him. So I think the Heat are going to have a lot of problems if it is the matchup ultimately, but not going to write off Spoelstra. And if you do like the Heat, you're basically taking a leap of faith that Eric Spoelstra is going to be able to figure something out, which is kind of a difficult thing to handicap and bet on when you don't actually know what it is, but certainly can't write them off. And I don't think you can write off their current opponent either, the Boston Celtics, who are 2-point dogs tonight. The total is 216.5 in Game 4 in Miami. The Celtics look like a broken umbrella of a team. But they still, the market still thinks they're better than the Heat on neutral. I still think they are the better team. If you played out 1,000 games, which obviously you don't get to do, you only get to play out, it might be 4 games. But Vaughn, do you give the Celtics, what kind of chance do you give the Celtics to win tonight and the series?
It's over. It's over for the Celtics. That Game 3 effort was one of the most abysmal, conference final efforts I feel like I've seen in quite a long time. One of the most memorable, but it's been a theme for the Celtics in the third quarter and the second half of these series games, especially this series, particularly shooting threes. They've been terrible. Shooting 25 and 26% from the third quarter in the second half from 3. It's not going to get it done. Like we said, all these undrafted guys like Gabe Vincent and Max Strus are stepping up and coming to play every single night. But the Celtics, to me, look like they checked out. And we talked about Joe Mazzulla and his coaching and how against the Sixers, it was very questionable in those last 3 games of the series, especially with his timeouts. I don't think he's really helped his cause by any means against the Heat in this series. And Boston, they've struggled. They've struggled on the road. They're 4-3 in the playoffs on the road. And one thing that's been very profitable for me in the postseason at halftime is fading guys who have no shot-making ability and taking their points under or points, rebounds, assists under. A guy like D'Angelo Russell last night for the Lakers, my goodness, he should not be in the lineup, shouldn't be in the rotation. And you can spot some guys in a game like this where it's an elimination game that aren't going to play any meaningful minutes in the second half. So I'll be keeping my eye out for that. But I did play the Heat money line. I did switch allegiances. I was on the Heat in Game 1, went back on the Celtics in Game 2 and Game 3. I cannot back this team with what I saw. So give me the Heat Game 4. We're going to see 2 sweeps. And like I said, NBA Finals will live up to the hype.
Okay, Drew.
Wrong, Drew. Your team Celtics. I could tell.
Well, here's what I would do. And Joe Mazzulla, if you're listening, and I know you do listen to the pod, here's your starting lineup tonight, okay? It's Smart, Brogdon, Brown, Tatum, and Rob Williams. And he's never going to do this, but that is the lineup that I would go down with because Derek White cannot guard Jimmy Butler, and Butler hunts him relentlessly. Horford can't guard Bam, which I don't really understand given how good he was against Embiid, but Bam's quickness is just absolutely cooking him, and he can't make a shot either. The only time the Celtics have really looked good in this series was the second quarter of Game 1, where it was the Rob Williams and 4 shooters lineup, and they just looked like they were going to run the Heat off the court. And so I think that's their best lineup. I think they need to lean more into that. They need to lean more into Brogdon over White. They need to lean more into Rob Williams. And Jaylen Brown just has to wake up because I think that if they just get this one, all of a sudden, as we were talking about yesterday, this is going to be a series again. The Heat probably still win it, but it's going to be a serious series. And the Celtics needing to win 2 out of 3 at home. They're very live. But what do you think about the game tonight, Drew?
Oh, I like your lineup a lot. Yeah. I don't know what in the world this has been. The Celtics have been so resistant to trying this. It's the proof is in the pudding. And honestly, the Game 3 effort, I feel it's going to be pretty clear. I feel like early on here, if the Celtics have any kind of heart or spirit or fight in this one, and my bet is they do, but some of that is predicated on Game 6 on the road. They could have quit against the Sixers, and they would have had excuses galore. Hey, they're up against the MVP. We're not feeling. They would have been. We're on the road. Lots of excuses, but they didn't make excuses. They, they played extremely hard. Tatum never quit, even though he had 3 quarters of absolutely miserable basketball. And for whatever it's worth, the Celtics have played some of their best basketball with their backs against the wall. So I'm not ready to quit on them just yet. That said, I think this is still a coin flippy type of game. I don't mind having the plus money side here with the Celtics in Game 4. I don't mind betting Celtics team total over because I think as Jay kind of broke down, they have to find ways to just have shooters on the floor at this point. And, the best possible outcome for them is, they at a minimum, they're getting, a friendly whistle. They're getting to the rim and to the free throw line pretty aggressively. And then their shooters are making shots. And this is, they can get into the 110, 120 point range, which is what they apparently need to do to beat this Heat team. So I think over is a bet. I think Celtics money line is a bet. I think Celtics team total over is a bet. But I'm pretty small staked on all of those because Jay talked me into the Celtics series price yesterday. So that's kind of where that's mostly where my loyalties lie now.
Yep.
I don't know.
This is a painful team to ride with, but I'm there too. I think Boston win tonight. I think
it's the end of Jaylen Brown.
Oh, yeah.
End of his era here. 2 for 20 from 3. He doesn't want to be out there with this team anymore. That's my opinion.
I would come back to is that there's this idea that the Celtics are fragile. Like if the Celtics were a soft, fragile team, then they wouldn't have won Game 6 in Philadelphia. They wouldn't have won Game 6 in Milwaukee last year, down 3-2 after blowing Game 5 in the worst possible fashion in Boston. They wouldn't have won Game 7 in Miami last season with Jason Tatum taking over in the 4th quarter, withstanding a Heat avalanche to start that quarter. So I think this team has metal. I think that there are just some specific things that have kind of broken them in this series. I think they let go of the rope when the Heat just started making every shot, and that's not good. Like that's a sign of mental weakness if you let go of the rope because the team is making every shot. But I think they will show up tonight, and I think they will win, and then they'll probably lose Game 5 or 6. I think they will win tonight. But
I mean, that was actually kind of the brilliance though of taking the series price in addition to betting them tonight, which is that you can come back on and take the points with the Heat in Game 5 and feel pretty fine. Feel fine about it. It's going to be an 8-9 point spread, there's plenty of middle there. So I think realistically it's the Eastern Conference Finals, and maybe I'm just delusional because I don't want the conference finals to be over and literally sit around and twiddle my thumbs for 8-9 days, whatever it is. But it's good for now. Those series may be over pretty quickly too. There'll be good tennis on over in Roland Garros. But no, I think realistically this is this Celtics team going out. I give them a pass for Game 3. I don't care that they let go of the rope. It wasn't an elimination game, and they weren't winning that game. They knew it. They were better off saving their bullets, getting their guys a little bit extra rest here. Like pretty clearly, I think the Game 1 they were impacted by the quick turnaround from Game 7. And then game 2, they really should have won, but they, completely lose their minds in the fourth quarter. And then game 3, they were outplayed and they knew it, and they gave up in the third quarter, but they're saving their bolts for game 4. It isn't over till it's over. And I think the Celtics realistically can make this series go a little bit longer.
Yep. Feels like Heat in 6, but we will see. All right. A reminder to download the RotoWorld app to receive breaking player news all season long. Stay ahead of the competition by favoriting players on your roster. Get the latest injury updates, player news, and much more delivered right to your phone. It's available in the App Store today. Okay, baseball. We haven't talked much baseball lately. We're going to talk some division markets and then a couple of awards markets. I'm going to start with my favorite division, the AL East, where Tampa are huge. Well, relatively huge, minus 186 favorites. The New York Yankees, who are starting to surge behind a guy that we will talk about, Mr. Judge, plus 425. The Blue Jays, kind of a blast season from them. They're kind of letting go of the rope a little bit at the moment too. They're plus 600. And then the Orioles are the interesting dark horse at 10-1, and then the Red Sox 20-1, who are not completely done, but it would be quite surprising. Vaughn, who do you like in this market?
Yeah, the Orioles are definitely the dark horse here. They've been primarily outstanding in game 1s this season of series openers. They're, I believe, 15-1 or 16-1 on the money line in game 1s of series this year. So that's really been their bread and butter. They're taking on the Yankees tonight. But the Yankees have been hot, 11-3 over the last 14 games. Basically, with Aaron Judge, they're 9-3 with him in the lineup this month. So they've been hot, and that's why their value's kind of gotten a lot shorter here. I can only justify betting on the Rays, Yankees, or Orioles. Like I said, the Blue Jays, I agree. They've been letting it slide here, and they're not really getting the pitching nor hitting that they need to win games. But Tampa Bay's a team. I mean, they won 10 of their first 12 series. They may have lost 3 of their last 4, but they've yet to lose 3 games straight all season. And the pitching staff is arguably the best in all of baseball, top 3 in ERA, WHIP, OBA, a lot of categories. So anytime you're getting the Rays, I think under 200, that's a really good bet, but I would not talk anyone off taking the Yankees or the Orioles for a smaller price. What say you?
Yeah, I gotta go Oppo, because I feel like the Rays are about to call us up, Vaughn. A couple more elbow injuries on this Rays pitching staff, and they're gonna be down to the single A club. And I know Glasnow is coming back up. His rehab has looked good apparently in Durham, and he could be the kind of effective ace coming down to a title stretch here. But anything in the minus 200 is a bet against for me with the Rays, just based on the health of that starting pitching unit, and something about the way that they're coaching these guys and the way that they're pitching them is not working from a health standpoint. And if the Tampa Bay Rays, I would be more surprised if they have no further injuries on their pitching staff for the rest of the season than if 1 or 2 more guys go on the extended list.
Yeah, I think also the thing with the Rays that is very difficult to price in, and all the publicly available models don't really price this in, is that they are a lot less likely than other teams in this division to make an upgrade at the deadline that takes on money, just because they don't have that payroll. Like if the Yankees will likely make a push at the deadline if they're close, and they'll upgrade. And so I think there's more scope for the other teams in the division getting better. And the Rays now, they've lost Springs, they've lost Rasmussen, they're dealing with injuries. They're okay at the moment, but they're like one more injury away from being in real trouble. And the guy to watch, and we're not going to go in depth on this market, but American League Rookie of the Year, Taj Bradley, he would be the guy of probably any awards market who I would be paying the most attention to, because he's like 25-1 to win AL Roy. And he is like, they need him now because of all these injuries, and he's up with the big leagues, and he's got incredible stuff. He's an elite prospect. His stats have been good so far. And I think the division price is certainly correlated with his performance. And so he's a guy where if he has another elite start, then you best jump on that price. The AL West, the Astros are minus 140 favorites, which I don't entirely agree with. The Rangers are plus 250. The perpetually infuriating Los Angeles Angels are plus 600. And then the Mariners, who've been very disappointing, are plus 700. And then the Oakland Athletics, you can have whatever price you want. Vaughn, who do you like in this market?
When you said you don't agree with the Astros prices because you think it should be closer to minus 200 or closer to plus 100?
I think it should be closer to plus 100 just because they have also got a lot of pitching injuries and their rotation gets pretty thin after 3. So I think that price is a little bit too generous to Houston. They should still be the favorite, but I think that Texas might be the play. But what do you think, Vaughn?
Texas, yeah. Well, the problem, because I looked at deep in depth into this, and I've been watching the Rangers. I watched them up and close yesterday against my Buccos, the Pirates, but it's hard for me to justify thinking the Rangers are going to keep up this pace of play, although they've been a team of surprise, I would say, especially in this division. But looking at the strength of schedules, which is correlated on the current records now in baseball, but Texas plays the 8th toughest strength of schedule the rest of the season, where Houston plays the 7th easiest. So that was something I looked at that definitely made me like the Astros a lot more because, once we get closer to October, that team continually starts to play better. But yeah, Garcia being out, Urquidy being out, McCullers, they'll get 2 of those 3 back this year, but they're another team top 5 in ERA, strikeouts, OBA after losing Verlander. So I do like the Astros. They haven't let me down, to be honest with you. 3 of the last 4 years, they've won the pennant and won the AL West. So they continually, back my pockets. But I'd probably be more inclined to maybe take a shot on the Angels or the Mariners over the Rangers. Do you have any opinion, Drew?
I think these prices are going to flip. The Rangers run differential says something is
insanity.
Yeah, maybe it screams they've underperformed even at the top of the standings right now. So realistically, them kind of finding their way into some lucky wins and or continuing to perform at this level, they're going to maybe create some space. I think if you want a market entry point on the Astros, you're targeting the trade deadline because they are a team that is willing to go out there and add a bat, add an arm. Right at the deadline. So I think realistically you wait for the All-Star break to back the Astros because I think these prices could flip.
Yeah, I think the encouraging thing for the Rangers as well is that Corey Seager's been hurt, DeGrom has been hurt, and they've still got this run differential. They've still got the division lead. And I didn't find the Rangers particularly inspiring coming into the season, but the fact that they're getting this performance out of Nathan Eovaldi, who's pitching at a Cy Young level, DeGrom is going to come back. Seager's back now. I don't think minus 140 on the Astros is egregious or anything. I think it's probably say that I would probably like it to be a little bit more generous to back it, but I think that the Rangers are probably the play, and they're the one to monitor each night. Let's go to now the NL Central, where the Brewers are minus 136 favorites, but the Cardinals, after a disastrous start, are starting to come good. They've had a couple losses lately, but they are plus 240. The Cubs 7-1, and then the Pittsburgh Pirates, Vaughn's Pittsburgh Pirates at plus 900, and then the Cincinnati Reds, not quite in an Oakland Athletics situation, but pretty much write your own ticket on the Reds. Any interest in the Pirates, Vaughn, at plus 900?
Definitely disrespectful. The Cubs have better odds than the Buccos right now, in my opinion. The Pirates, they went on that massive losing streak, but they played some tremendous teams like the Blue Jays and Rays during that span. But, the Pirates are definitely going to be a team that's around 500. It might be a little better than it. You could probably get a good win total number in the futures market, but I wouldn't be willing to back the Pirates with confident money here. I did sprinkle lunch money on the Buccos, but nothing confident. I think the best play here, and I'm not going with a favorite now for the first time in this show, I'm going with the Cardinals. I do agree, Jay, this team is really heating up. They're 21-28 on the season, 7 games under 500, and they're 11-4 in their last 15. Only 5 games back, but you look at who they're going to play over the next 10 series and 28 games, it is a team worth backing. They got the Reds twice. They have the Royals, the Pirates, Rangers, Giants, Nationals, Cubs, and the Mets. So a lot of those series, they're going to be winning those. And when you look at the strength of schedule, 4th easiest in all of baseball remaining. They got a lot of those hard games out the way already, some of those tough series. And their offense is what you want. Top 10 across the board and pretty much everything, slug, OPS, batting average, home runs. It's just the pitching staff that needs to come around. And over the last 15 days, they have, and that's why they've been winning games. So I think this market is going to change pretty soon. How you guys feel about the other 2 we just talked about? I feel like the Cardinals are going to be the favorites here pretty shortly. And I said at the beginning of the season, the Brewers are going to have periods where they're the favorites, but they're not going to be bet on. I don't think they're a team that's going to win this division. They're going to struggle to get the play in the wild card, but I like the Cardinals. I think it's their division, and they're 7 games under 500. So hot take maybe.
I have a decent play on Cardinals win total over, which would be pretty miraculous considering how they started. I think it was 89.5. But ultimately the prices I do think flip. Run differentials telling you that the Brewers are not very good, and yet here they are, three games over 500. And then Cardinals, of course, anchored by MVP Paul Goldschmidt. Just an incredible human, incredible offensive machine. I'm giving Jay a hard time. But yeah, no, I mean, Cardinals at plus 240 is I mean, realistically, whoever finishes over 500 wins this division. Cardinals could win the NL Central with 81, 82 wins, which is unbelievable, but that's where we are. And I think realistically plus 240 is pretty advantageous price. Do you get why this price is that favorable, Jay?
Yeah, I mean, it's just because of the banked losses at this point, and the fact that the Brewers do have, a somewhat material lead, and the Cardinals pitching has been terrible, and I don't it's going to get better, but still, there's not a lot of talent on that staff in terms of lead-end talent. At the same time, though, this offense is just so incredibly loaded. Like Paul Goldschmidt's underlying numbers are better than last year when he had a great humanitarian MVP season. And then you look at other guys on the team. Arenado was dreadful to start the year. He is now heating up. He's been fantastic lately. Yeah. Nolan Gorman is playing like an MVP at the moment, which I think is going to cool off, but he's been insane. And then I think the big sneaky one is Paul DeJong, who looked like he was headed out of the majors not too long ago. He's playing like an MVP as well. So they've got like four guys playing like MVPs on offense at the same time. And that doesn't even mention Wilson Contreras, who's got a lot of weird stuff happening. But I just think that the talent on the Cardinals, I agree, it makes them the bet at plus 240. I also wouldn't entirely write off the Pirates yet, because I think they have talent on that offense. They have upside. Pitching's not great.
It's been good, though, at points. Like they at one point up until I think a week ago, they were leading the league in quality starts for the pitching staff. Which is pretty insane, the Pittsburgh Pirates of all teams. But, I agree with you. I think that the pitching will be the downfall. But offensively, they can hang in there. When I placed this plus 700 ticket on the Pirates, the Cardinals are plus 1,000, 10-1. So that's how far the Cardinals have come the past 2-3 weeks.
Plus Rich Hill is only 43. He's still got 10 more good years left. So why not?
Guys still struggling to pick up ground balls, but yeah.
It's a weird sentence to say, but the Pirates really miss Vince Velasquez because he was pitching really well for them, and he kind of changed his pitch mix and what he was doing. But yeah, I think the Pirates are one to watch. I wouldn't completely dismiss them. All right, before we get through some awards, just a reminder, Sunday morning means MLB leadoff. Watch exclusive live games all season long on Peacock. This week, featuring a powerhouse matchup as the Dodgers take on the MLB leading Rays in Tampa Bay. That is a good matchup. Coverage begins at 11 a.m. Eastern this Sunday. Great game to check out on Peacock. All right, NL Cy Young. This market is a mess. I think of all the markets, it's AL Roy and NL Cy Young that are just absolute messes. Zach Gallen is the favorite at plus 225. He got lit up his last start. Spencer Strider also got lit up his last start. He's plus 225. Clayton Kershaw hasn't pitched well in 3 weeks, and he's 11-1. So he hasn't tanked his numbers quite enough to withdraw from the race, but he hasn't been pitching well lately. Vaughn's man Mitch Keller is fourth favorite for Cy Young at 16-1. He's been pitching great. Zach Wheeler got lit up last night, 25-1. Urias, no interest. And then you go on and on. There's not much there that's inspiring. But anything inspiring to you, Vaughn?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this at the beginning of the season, and I said that my best bet for a long shot or a half unit play would be Spencer Strider at 9-1. And I see no reason really to go off of him right now. I know Zach Gallen, like you said, they're co-favorites, but Gallen's going to have to outperform his 2.54 ERA from last year. He's currently at a 2.95. Arizona's 1.5 games back of the Dodgers, who, obviously aren't quite the Dodgers of the last 2, 3, 4 years. So I don't really see as much enticing factors to bet Zach Gallen's prices. I think the Diamondbacks, a team I back their win total over with great confidence, I don't think they're going to win the NL West or make a whole lot of noise. So Spencer Strider leading the league in strikeouts, third in the league in OBA, ninth when it comes to ERA in the NL. I mean, this guy's done everything he's really been asked of. And, his strikeout prop tonight against the Dodgers, 8.5. after getting lit up in the last start, like you said. So they have confidence he will bounce back. But I think he's really the only guy in this market you could probably bet on with confidence. I mean, Mitch Keller being the 4th favorite, I mean, what the heck? Like, what are we doing here? So it's definitely Strider or pass.
What do you like, Drew? Anyone jump out in this market of uninspiring names? I'll give you one.
I got one. I want to say it first. I bet we're thinking the same guy.
No, probably. I don't think so. You go first.
Atlanta Braves, Bryce Elder, 80 to 1.
No, I wasn't thinking about that.
Am I crazy?
He's really good. I picked him up in fantasy last week. So.
He's great. He's currently top 3 in WAR for pitchers. The Braves are gonna be by default kind of the team people go to. Well, I don't know who's done well this year. Braves, okay. Who's their best pitcher? Elder, okay. He gets my vote. Like, I feel like that's the kind of situation we're in because there's no one that's really standing out. I think I kind of can't believe the current WAR leaderboard for pitchers. Yeah. Justin Steele. Your leader. I'll give anybody $5. They tell me what team Justin Steele plays for.
Oh, it's the Cubs, baby.
He plays the Cubs. Okay.
Point is taken though.
It's the southpaw.
This is the market to look for guys down the board because Gallen, like Strider, he should be the favorite, I think, and Gallen should be the second favorite. But they are extremely vulnerable, and this pitching, it blows up so quickly. So 2 names that I'll give out to people. One guy isn't even on the board that I'm looking at here. Logan Webb, who's pitched really well for the Giants. He's got a little back thing at the moment, but looks like he's going to be okay. You can get him, I think, north of 70 to 1 if he's not even listed here. And then Alex Cobb has a 1.94 ERA and coming up 2 seasons with a sub-3 FIP. He's 65 to 1. Like, in this field, those guys can't be that long. And you might think like, oh, Alex Cobb's not winning Cy Young. Logan Webb's not winning Cy Young. Well, you can say the thing about like Robbie Ray or Rick Porcello or R.A. Dickey. Like, random guys win Cy Young. You just have one really good season. So yeah, I think those are worthwhile.
I can get you 55 to 1 on Logan Webb.
Yeah.
That's not crazy. And I can get you 65 to 1 on Alex Cobb. That's also not crazy. Realistically, I pick 5 guys in the 50 to 1 plus range and just hold some lotto tickets this season. And honestly, right now is the time you want to be shopping for this end of May. Like, the prices are a little tilted by the results we've gotten in hand. But I think now's the time to shop for the long shots.
Agreed. All right, last mark before we close out. AL MVP, a much ballyhooed market last year where it was Ohtani v. Judge. Looks like it might be Ohtani v. Judge again. Shohei is minus 125. Aaron Judge is plus 800. I think the market doesn't end with these two, but it's kind of trending towards potentially ending with these two again. I think Aaron Judge is a bet at plus 800. You can go, if you shop around, you can get 12 to 1 on Judge. I think he should be more like plus 600 because he's underachieving his expected numbers at the moment, and his numbers are amazing as is. But what do you think, Vaughn? What do you make of this market?
Yeah, I'm with you. I know there's a lot of markets out there that have Ohtani versus the field. It's essentially you're in the field for plus 100, but I think Aaron Judge right now is the clear second best bet. We were talking about him a little bit earlier, but the Yankees are 9-3 with him coming back in May now. I mean, he's been outstanding, hitting .378, 7 homers, 13 runs scored, and 18 RBIs over 12 games. So he's been outstanding, and he's been the hottest bet, I think, to make in this market. I preached about Vlad Guerrero at the beginning of the season. Not there. He's not spraying the bleachers like we thought he would. And the guy that I actually like for a lunch money bet, since you guys are giving out crazy bets, my $10 bet is Yandy Diaz of the Rays at 35 to 1.
Like it.
Leading the AL in batting average, OPB, top 3 in slug, OPS, home runs, best record in the league. And he's been consistent both months, 326 batting average, 328 this month. So that's my only lunch money shot, but I agree. I think it's the field here, and I would take Aaron Judge or Yandy Diaz.
Yep. Who do you like, Drew?
I'm going to take the money I would bet into this market and just get more Ronald Acuna because I don't know who is winning American League MVP. I know that that Aaron Judge 8 to 1 is not a bad bet. Yandy Diaz at 25. Would you say what is he? 35?
35 to 1.
35. That's not a bad bet. But realistically, this is whoever like really pops in July and August is probably going to win this one, and we have no idea who that is. So where are you at right now in the AL MVP, Jay?
Yeah, I think Judge 8-1. I agree with Vaughn. Yandy Diaz, I think he should be the fourth favorite in the market behind Shohei, Judge, Wander Franco. I'd have Yandy fourth at this point. He's been out of his mind. He's adjusted his launch angle. He always hit the ball hard. Now he's hitting it in the air, and he's been insane. And the thing to remember about this market, Shohei Ohtani is a free agent at the end of the season. And if the Angels are out of contention by the end of July, he might get traded. And the prime candidates to trade for him, a lot of them are in the National League. And if you are in the National League, you're not going to win AL MVP if someone like the Dodgers or the Giants or the Mets trade for Shohei. So
what's your probability he gets traded?
I don't know. It's probably at 10 to 15. But that's still enough to kind of, the market's not accounting for that at all. He's also the biggest injury risk of all time for an MVP candidate just because he's a pitcher. So I think between those two, you have to look elsewhere other than Shohei, even though he is rightfully the clear favorite. Yeah. And I think Judge and Yandy are the best places to look.
He also pitched in the World Baseball Classic. So
he also hasn't pitched great this year. His underlying stuff isn't.
Red flags all over.
Big strikeout
showcase.
Yep. So something to monitor. All right. We are done. Don't forget to check out NBCSportsEdge.com for more information to help you with your wagers. Thanks to Drew Dinsick, Vaughn Dalzell from Jay Croucher. Go Celtics. Celtics in 7. We'll see you tomorrow.